Hey guys, Ken Arnold here with.
Tommy Weber here.
Hey
What's up,
Tommy, how
pal?
you doing, man? How's it going?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. It's Sunday. We had a game today, but unfortunately, we got rained out. There's this huge tropical storm that's sweeping up the coast over here and killing us. So we
Yeah, the
got
golf
rained out.
tournament. The golf tournament got rained out too in Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they delayed the end of that until tomorrow.
yeah, it's just been raining. It's that constant. It's not a real hard rain, but it's not a soft rain. It's that constant. It just keeps coming. Just keeps right on
If
coming.
it brings some cool weather, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, the temperature was 20 degrees less than it was last week, which
Man,
was unbearable
been
last week.
a rough summer. Rough summer.
Anyway, yeah, so we got rained out, and I stayed home and I made beer.
I'm sure that went over big with the missus.
It did. She was fine with it.
All
So
right. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
she loves it when I'm out of her hair and out of her way, and then I leave her alone.
Well,
So
just for the record, I love my wife. I do.
yes, okay.
Love you, honey.
Awesome, awesome. I'm sure she loves it that I borrow you for 45 minutes on a Sunday night.
Yeah, she does. She does.
So anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about hitting tonight. Different philosophies, what your approach is when you're teaching
Oh
hitters.
boy.
Yeah,
Oh boy.
and maybe some drills that you could share with the people at home. What you think helps best at different levels of the game. The youth level, high school level, and things of that nature. So
Well, I'll tell you what. You and I have had this discussion 1,000 times, and obviously, this is if you go on any social media, every guy who spent half a day in organized baseball has become a hitting expert with a laboratory and a philosophy and whatever. But to me, in reality, especially when hitters are young, it's all about contact and getting to know the strike zone. I don't care who you are, whether you're Miguel Cabrera or Ty Cobb or Ted Williams. If you swing at bad balls, you're not going to be a good hitter. It's going to really be an uphill battle for you. So I think one of the skills that you have to really teach guys and emphasize, which is never emphasized because we're so fixated on the mechanical, is what pitches to hit. What pitches can you hit? What pitches should you be hitting? And try to hit as many strikes as possible and try to try not to give the hitter any advantage by swinging at bad balls. So that's first and foremost, and I think that's universal from the time a kid is 7 until he's 37.
yep. Rene Miranda's on. He says, "See the ball, hit the ball." That's my philosophy, pretty much at the youth level. I'd like them be the kids, like you said, to be selective a little bit more, learn the strike zone. But I also like them to be aggressive when they get
Absolutely.
a good pitch. I want them swinging the bat. I don't want them watching. At the youth level, I see a lot of called third strikes and a lot of walking back to the dugout when they should have
Yeah,
been swinging the bat.
right. I believe in swinging the bat from the on deck circle. It's hit, 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 take. It's not decide to hit. You should be hitting every pitch and then stopping yourself from hitting. Because certainly as you go up the food chain and the velocity gets harder and the pitching gets better, you better be ready. And if you're not ready, you're going to get beat. So I agree wholeheartedly. You should be aggressive, but you can't swing at bad pitches.
Oh yeah,
You got to be
obviously.
aggressive in the strike zone. And Renee is right. I think Renee, who's with the Jersey Eagles in the ACBL, great guy. I think that's a response to the overwhelming influx of instruction and instruction on the mechanical. And I think it's a natural reaction that people have now that they just want to oversimplify it because it's been so overcomplicated at every single level.
Yeah. When I'm out there on the field with these guys, they're 12. This past year was 12-year-olds. I can't tell you how many times I said, just see it and hit it. Let's go. See it and hit it. I'm not
Right.
giving instruction from the third base coaching box. I'm not yelling from the dugout what they need to do. We'll do that later. We'll do that when we're at practice. We'll work on things then. I just want you to get up there, be relaxed, don't think, see it, hit it. Let's go.
Yeah, we had a kid play for us last year, Connor Smith, one of those kids that just couldn't get enough. Terrific player. He's now with the Indians organization, had a nice year his first year. I just spoke to him today. And one of the things we talked about today that we discussed last year was no swing thoughts in the batter's box. Once you leave the on-deck circle, you forget about all this mechanical stuff. And now it's about making something good happen, being ready for anything, and getting desperate to get 90 feet. If you're thinking about what you're doing at the plate, you're going to get beat, you're going to get tied up. And I think Yogi Berra was right. You can't think and hit at the same time. It's just got to be a reaction to a pitch, and you got to go get it and let it fly.
Yeah, and then like you said earlier, the higher the level you go, the harder the ball's coming in. You don't have time to think, and if you're thinking, you're beat before you.
You're beat.
Yeah,
you're beat. You're totally beat.
So Renee,
who's squashing the bug?
Renee is still. He's squishing the bug. He's popping his waist. He's throwing his hands. Blah 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 is what he said. I would have said
That's
yada.
great.
I would have said yada 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 because I'm a Seinfeld fan. But you know,
if I told you how many times, either in the dugout, on the phone, at a workout, we have mocked exactly what Renee is talking about.
Yes.
Like I hear instructions that I don't even know what people, eyes up, hips out, squash the bug, let it get deep, stay inside the ball. I mean, after a while, I'm surprised more guys don't get hit in the face with a pitch they're thinking about so much.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely, it's true. They're up there. It baffles my mind when I see other coaches giving hitting instructions during the middle of the game.
Yeah, it's nothing like the third base coach giving hitting instructions while you're in the batter's box. That's really going to make sure you get a hit. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I love that. I love when you see a guy, stand. All you got to do. It's all you have to do, as if it's easy.
This is it's not easy. And practice is when you need to be working on that stuff, not in the middle of the game. And that's
Absolutely
true for any position if you're in the field, too. It's not time. You can pull them aside in the dugout when they come in off the field and maybe mention something to them, but it's not time for instruction. You don't want to put that pressure on the kid anyway.
If you're at shortstop, it's a little late to learn the position. Okay, while a pitcher's throwing the ball, it might just be a little late. You want to do that while you're getting all your early work and your drill work, but if you have to start thinking as that ball's getting thrown, you're in trouble. You're in trouble.
Renee, yes, I do have yada 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 sex. By the way. That's kind of what it's like.
That's okay.
I got 5 kids, man, and that's that's where I'm at with it. It's like,
oh boy,
it's off the rails already. Webbs, what's going on?
Wow. TMI.
Yeah.
What do we got here?
Renee
all you got to do is swing strikes. What if the umpire's strike zone moves from pitch to pitch?
Yeah.
Then you have to ask the umpire. If his glasses prescription is up to date, I guess. I don't know. I mean, that's something you can't account for, certainly. That's going to be difficult.
Look, you come up in one at-bat, Webbs, and the guy is calling the outside ball. He's giving him that 6 inches off the outside corner, and you come up the next time, you might want to adjust a little bit and maybe look away. But, you can't predict, the umpire.
Right, I kind of have a different take on this whole strike zone thing. I don't think you want consistency. I think you want a strike zone, which is 17 inches and whatever defines the strike zone. This notion that I have to ascertain from the umpire on that particular day what his strike zone is, to me, flies in the face of why you have a rule book and how everybody's grown up in the game. I don't know why we've been okay with umpires establishing their own strike zone. And I mean, I don't. That's anathema to me. I when I hear my players asking umpires, "Is that as far outside as you're going to go today?"
Yeah.
And an umpire is saying yes. Well, wait a minute. The plate is 17 inches. I should only have 17 inches to cover as a hitter, and the pitcher should only have 17 inches to throw strikes over. That makes it easy for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. That it should be only 17 inches. The reality, though, is that it's not. I was watching the Boston game. David Price was pitching. And he was hitting the inside portion of the plate. Like the ball was over the plate. There was no, you're watching it at home. You're seeing it. And the umpire would not call it a strike. He was giving him, 6 on the 6 inches on the outside. But still, that ball's over the plate. You got, David Price couldn't believe it.
Who was the genius that decided to vest this kind of authority in the umpires? I don't get it. I mean, if we've learned one thing from instant replay, with all due respect, the umpires have a lot of room for improvement. They do, and they should take instant replay and look in the mirror a little bit and say, hey, there's a lot of room for improvement here. We shouldn't be missing 20% of the borderline calls, and we shouldn't be missing 49% of the reviewed calls. So I just don't. I guess the game is such that umpires have this ultimate authority, and they're able to now dictate where a strike zone is, which I think is ridiculous. As a player, that would incense me. And it doesn't take a lot to incense me when it comes to umpires.
No. I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that. So let me get back to the hitting philosophy.
Okay.
What my philosophy for the youth leagues, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the the new rotational launch angle swing and all that stuff that you see at the big league level, and an old school swing like a Tony Gwynn or a Wade Boggs or a Rod Carew type swing. We'll talk about
guys
that
who
a
tried
little
to
bit.
Guys who tried to get hits.
Yes. Yeah. So, at the youth level, I think my approach is to teach more of that type of a swing. Use the entire field, make good, solid, hard contact, concern yourself with hitting the ball on a line drive or a ground ball. And then, but it depends too. Then on the other side of that, I go with, the type of player that I'm dealing with. Now I have a couple kids on my team that are really big kids and they're really slow. Yep. I might want to teach them a little bit of that rotational swing, but again, contact first. So,
I think that I think if you hit the ball on the ground every single time up, and you're in high school, you're probably going to hit about 500, and there's a simple reason for that. It's much easier to catch the ball when it's in the air. If you can't back the outfielders up, hitting the ball in the air when you're 15 years old means you're going to get very few hits.
Yes,
because the ball is very easy to catch.
And you're not strong enough to hit it over the fence every time.
Correct. So if you can't back up the outfielders, you'd better do something other than lift that ball, because that means an outfielder's either going to come running in or an infielder's going to go running out and make an easy catch. Once you put the ball in play on the ground, it's much harder to defend. You watch high school baseball and youth baseball, guys don't catch the ball. If you force the other team to make 27 outs on the ground, it's going to be very hard. Now, obviously, you can't live on the ground ball.
No.
And as you get older and as you get stronger and as you get bigger, you are going to adapt naturally anyway. But to indoctrinate young kids into lifting the ball, I think is going to get a lot of frustrated kids. It's going to be a lot less fun. Kids are going to be on base a lot less. Look, the game at the major league level is much harder to watch now for that very reason, and they're able to hit the ball really far. So, and you're paying to see them, and they're getting paid to play. At the youth level, you start having guys lift and you reduce contact, you increase strikeouts and increase pop-ups, you're not going to have a game that's a lot of fun for young people to play.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. A lot of strikeouts at the major league level right now. You see, but that's all they talk about. And then when I go to practices and when I watch other teams, because I'll get there early or I'll see another team on a field right next to us and the batting cage is adjacent to where we are. And that's all I hear. You got to get under, you got to lift it. You got to, and I'm just looking at, and they're like 11 years old. And I'm like, that kid can't hit the ball out of the infield. Let's teach him how to hit a line drive.
I think we run a real danger, and we take a real risk when we start renaming concepts that we already have names for. Launch angle is not an invention.
No.
Every ball is launched at an angle. Whether it's
negative
down,
or positive.
up,
Yeah.
negative, positive. I mean, that's not a new invention. It's not a new concept. Now, I prefer putting a thought in my hitter's head that gives him a result. For instance, hit the ball higher. I think is better than hit the ball at a 17-degree launch angle, because 17-degree launch angle doesn't really mean anything to anyone. When I say hit the ball higher, we all know what high is. And I think it's easier for a hitter to grasp that concept. Now hit it lower. Now, what I will say is this. Bat control has become a forgotten and lost art. You should be able to control in a controlled setting where the ball's going and how high you're hitting it. That's why kids should play more pepper. Pepper will teach you how to hit, because you've got to hit the ball on the fat part of the bat and you've got to direct the ball in to left, to center, and to right. That's hitting in a very controlled environment, and you don't need a whole field and you don't need 15 guys to do that. And the other thing I would have guys do is I would have guys fungo the ball.
Yeah.
I would have guys make solid contact in every possible way, in a variety of ways, so that when they get up to the plate, they have at their disposal and in their arsenal an array of ways to hit the ball. And they're hardwired to hit the ball hard. Look, here's what it's about. Hit the ball hard somewhere.
Yes.
You can't control the outcome.
Exactly.
If you're hitting the ball solid somewhere, and that's what you've practiced, and that's what you're doing, you know what? The balls that you're supposed to hit high, you're going to hit high. The balls you hit low, supposed to hit low, you're going to hit low.
So Danny Ford jumped on. He's talking about barrel accuracy and the Donaldson effect.
Yeah, barrel accuracy. To me, I'm going to punch Danny Ford in the face the next time I see him, because barrel accuracy is another one of those stupid terms. I don't even know what the barrel accuracy. Does a 9-year-old know what barrel accuracy? You know what? If you played Pepper with a 9-year-old, he'd understand barrel accuracy without ever mentioning that term, ever. And the Donaldson effect, Josh Donaldson, to me, set back hitting 25 years because, first of all, I don't think Josh Donaldson knows what he really does. He thinks he does something very often that he doesn't. And also, when you start telling people not to listen to their coaches, and you start telling 10-year-olds to try to hit the ball off the left center field wall, you're doing a real disservice to hitters.
Yeah, I was watching the 11-year-old team work on the field next to us in the spring, and the coach, who played, by the way, minor league baseball, was out there telling all his hitters when they came. He had a drill. He had a tee at home plate, and each kid would come up and take 5 swings. And he was just saying, grip it and rip it, try to hit it out of the infield in the air every time. I'm like, that makes no sense to me. I'm like, what is going on right now? I'm like, okay, how about we hit a line drive back up the middle? How about we hit a hard ground ball right at second base? When I tell my guys that, they look at me like I'm crazy. Like, I'm here. We're going to work. We're going to work the outside of the plate first. I want you to hit the ball towards the second baseman. Then we're going to work right down the middle. I want you to hit it right back up the middle. Then we're going to work the inside. And I want you to try and pull the ball to the left fielder, and see how you do. And they just look at me. They're like, what? I don't understand what you're saying, coach. So, and this is even at the higher level when I'm coaching high school kids who have been, they're on these elite travel teams.
Oh boy.
Yeah, those.
Well, look, how many times are you in the dugout when you're praying, your guy hits a ground ball and just doesn't strike out? When it's second and third in the third inning, and you're looking to get on the scoreboard, and there's nobody out, and that guy's got 2 strikes on him, you're praying he hits a ground ball to second base, drives 1 run in, moves 1 runner over, and now you could actually score 2 runs without a hit. So there's one, in the cage where you get all these false positives, and you could really create any reality that you want by telling a kid, this is great, you're hitting the ball high in the air, you're going to go out and hit home runs. Then there is on the field when you're playing the game. If you're trying to play the game, it's a game of 90 feet. I don't care how you get to 90 feet. If you hit a ground ball between first and second that just gets into the outfield and you're at first base, that's as good as a line drive into right center field. It's not all about development at 9 and 10 years old so you could project a kid into the big leagues someday. There's 700 jobs in the big leagues. Your kid's not going to the major leagues.
That's what I try to explain to people. I want hard, solid contact. I want to move runners around. I want to hit. I want productive outs. I don't want the kid trying to swing out of his, ass every time to hit the ball over the fence. Because guess what? Most times you can't hit it out of the infield.
And I have another, what I think is a universal philosophy that needs to come back into play. When Stony Brook University went to the College World Series about 5 or 6 years ago, they reduced their hitting instructing basically to one phrase. And the phrase was, don't strike out. And I really believe that philosophy and that mindset does a lot to make you a better hitter. It's not just that I don't want you to strike out, but if you're desperate to not strike out, your concentration and your focus starts to skyrocket because you just don't want to get out of the batter's box. You'll start to foul off more pitches. You'll hang in there on tough at-bats. You'll increase the pitcher's pitch count. You'll do all things that increase the likelihood that that pitcher is going to make a mistake, and now you're going to line a double into right center field. But if you think, as MLB's Brian Kenny does and Evan Longoria does, that an out is an out, well, then when you get to 2 strikes, you're not going to be any more desperate to get a hit than you are if the count's 2-0. I don't see that as a productive way to be a hitter. I don't.
Not when you're striking out 200 times a year and your batting average is 200.
Exactly.
And you're hitting home runs when no one cares. When it's 10-2.
You're hitting. Look, if you hit 25, 26 home runs a year, it's one a week.
Yeah.
That's what it is. They play about 28 weeks. It's one a week. You play 6 days a week.
Yeah. You should be able to do that.
You better be able to do something else other than hit home runs.
Yeah. Play defense, move runners around, do something.
Put the ball in play, drive in runs, hit fly balls. Yeah.
Hey, somebody that I have a lot of respect for and who I loved playing behind at Wagner College, Steve Mineo joined us. He's on.
Steve Mineo?
Yes.
Oh, Cape Cod guy. He lives in Cape Cod. He lives in Plymouth.
Yeah. So
this is the first year I didn't see him. I missed him this year.
There was one tough pitcher right there. I loved playing baseball behind him. He was
a good hitter. A good hitter.
Yep, he was.
Steve was a good hitter. He was a great athlete, and looks like he could still play today.
Yep. Dan Ford just jumped on, said nobody teaches two-strike hitting. He also said earlier he was just saying those things to set you off, Webbs. So
I know that. Yeah. I know. It's so easy to say. What is that? What am I like? Is this a circus performer here? What is this?
You're like Billy Mark. Get you going. Get you going in the wrong direction. A flurry of punches and a pool of blood. It's all over. But hey,
Mineo's still playing. Mineo is still playing.
Yeah, he's in great shape, man. He looks like
great shape.
Yeah, he looks like he's in his 30s still.
Really, really good shape.
So, yeah.
Knows the game too. Knows the game.
So
I'll give you a couple of drills. Let me tell you a drill I think is a great drill. All right. So here's what I think hitters do. Here's what I see hitters. The first thing I look for in a hitter is, does he drift? Which means when he steps forward and his front foot touches the ground, does his head kind of follow? So if you see my head, my gigantic head in this box here, as your front foot hits the ground, your head really shouldn't move. So there should be a space that should increase between your front foot and your head. That's going to allow you to move around your center and hit the ball with your body and not with your hands. You don't have to flip at it. You don't have to cast. You don't have to do all those things. And also, if your head moves as the pitch is moving, that pitch that's 84 turns into 92, and it beats you. So a drill I really like to do, and I find myself doing with a wide array of different hitters, is the hitter steps, he stops, you skip a beat, and then you toss him the ball, either soft toss, overhand, whatever it might be, so that he's actually stepping, feeling what it's like to have his front foot far from his head, and then he swings. I love that drill, and hitters like it too. It really makes them appreciate how much your body swings the bat, not your hands and arms. The dog has to wag the tail doesn't wag the dog. I think that's a great drill.
I had that problem for a long time. My head would drift. Boom.
You always did.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
And I would get out on my front foot.
And I'll tell you why you did. Because athletes drift because they think it's logical to think I got to go get the ball. It's counterintuitive to think that I can hit the ball further if I don't run after it. So it's kind of a hard thing to teach young people because they think the ball's coming at me. I want to hit it. I want to go get it. Whereas the real secret is to not go get it, not necessarily to wait. Because I think wait is a passive word.
Yeah.
But to just, I give a good cue. The good hitters I see, they step as if they have a sore front foot. They step very softly onto their front side. They don't crash onto the front side.
Well, that was the thing with me is like towards the end of my career, I figured out that I was drifting like that.
Right.
And I learned how to not. And then all of a sudden it seemed like the ball was taking forever to get to me. And I
bet you had a power burst.
I did. I was hitting the ball harder. I hit more doubles.
And further.
Yeah,
No question.
I was hitting more. I was pulling the ball a lot more, like an inside pitch. I was way out in front. And earlier in my career, I wasn't getting to that ball. And then, I just learned that stop that drift. Now I can see the ball, and it actually slows down, like you say. Boom.
All right, now your body and your hands don't have to try to get involved. Your arms are very weak. Your body is strong. You got to let that body you got to let the body generate the power and let your hands and arms go along for the ride. That's what sends that energy to the end of the bat, and guys hit it, 1,000 feet. You were very athletic. I think a lot of guys could do with a dose of less athleticism and hit a little bit more. They would be able to hit more instinctively and not charge the ball, especially kids. Kids are going to go get the ball. Mm-hmm. And it's very hard to have. So if you have drills that encourage them not going and getting the ball, they could kind of learn the proper way to hit a baseball, staying behind it.
Sure. Also, my philosophy with younger hitters are I take each one on a case-by-case basis. I don't work with every kid, the same way and try to mold them into being the same hitter. I think that's ridiculous.
You don't have the Ken Arnold way?
No. I see what their skill set is. I see what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and then we work from there. I don't just say this is how you have to swing every single you do want to establish a consistency with them, but based on their skills. Not forcing them to do what Mike Trout does. Not forcing them to do what Donaldson does. Not forcing them to do, not forcing them to do what Tony Gwynn does.
I had a kid play for me. Zach Granite went to the major leagues with the Minnesota Twins. Good friend of mine. We talk 3-4 times a year. One day he calls me. He's in AA, and always when he's going a little bad, and we start to talk. We usually speak for about an hour on the phone. And I said to him, "It's very simple. You got to stop trying to be somebody other than Zach Granite. You're a guy who gets on base. You can run. You can't be Miguel Cabrera. You could be a really bad Miguel Cabrera, but you could be a really good Zach Granite." And that stuck with him. It struck a chord with him, because if you're not a power hitter, the real danger in the game today is that if you're a guy that doesn't have a lot of power, you're going to try to be a power hitter. Now you're going to be a bad power hitter, whereas you could be a really good table setter, run scorer, base stealer, guy who gets on base, high on base percentage guy. Instead, you're trying to be something that you're not. So what you do is great, because you're taking each kid based on what you think they could do at this point in time and getting the most out of them.
So Dana Wallace came on. Do you know Dana?
Yes.
Yes, she came on and said hockey players make better baseball players, is what she said.
Is that a declaration or is that a question?
It looked like a declaration because she's got 3 exclamation points after it.
Wow. Well, I would like to see the research on that. How, by virtue of what?
Look, I played baseball.
Well, that would sort of fly in the face of what we know, because with the influx of Latin American players and players who live below the Mason-Dixon line and come from warm weather locales. In fact, very few of them play hockey. So I'm trying to see what the.
Oh, it's actually Dana Wallace. It said they came back and said it's Rob. So it's Rob. I don't. Rob Wallace?
It's Rob Wallace. I know Rob Wallace. Rob Wallace is the man. He is the man. His son. He's got 2 of the most beautiful kids in the world. And his wife's beautiful, but he's like, I don't know how the hell that happened.
Yeah. We can say that about any of us.
I don't even want to get into that. But his son is our bat boy, great kid, super kid, really funny kid, and his son plays hockey. So now I see why Rob gets his data from, his research.
Yes. So, I think hockey is a tough sport. I mean, you got to. You're on skates. You're on ice, man. It is a tough sport. You got to be an athlete to play that game.
You know what I like about hockey players? They hate each other. They hate the opposition. I love it. It's great.
Yeah. So I played baseball in Canada for a couple years, and we didn't have any Canadians on the team either time. No. So I don't know about that theory, Rob, but
Well, Rob's being a dad. He's being a dad.
I know. But I love hockey.
We'll give him a free peg. Hockey's a great game. Great game. But the hockey's another crazy game where, people travel all over the country. And, I was talking to Rob yesterday about this. I don't understand in baseball now, travel ball, if I live across the street from you, we go to like Delaware to play against each other when we live across the street from each other. Like there's no more local league. Yes. Where you play 50 games against, local teams, and you have these rivalries. Everything now is event baseball.
Yeah, you got to go to a facility to play in one of the showcase tourneys.
Right.
There's one. There's a bunch of them not too far from here. But that was the thing. We would go to Virginia to play all these teams from right where we are. Why didn't we just set it up at our field and just go play the games there? Makes more sense. I don't know.
What's Rob want to know? Oh, I was a stud in hockey. Yeah. I did play on a great epic hockey team that in high school that set a national record for wins, and it was really, really awesome. It was a cool way to learn about winning and rivalry, and we had a target on our back for 66 straight games we won, and it was really a great experience. My father was the coach, and it was just awesome. And I think that really informed a lot of how I went about the rest of my athletic life. Coaching, playing. How much I valued winning. It really taught us a lot. It was really a very gratifying and special thing to be able to do as a high school kid. It was great.
So you just brought it up. You guys won 66 games in a row.
Yes.
So
at that time, it was a national high school record.
Now let's just transfer that over. It's a streak, right? You're talking about streaks now.
Yes, the streak.
How do you handle streaks in the game of baseball? I mean, what do you do to not think about it, to not, do you got to stay in a routine? I think you just got
better than anybody. What you did. You got to the ballpark at 11:30, and you did early work, and you probably did the same thing that you did when you were losing.
I did the same thing every day. I really did. I never did much different. Yeah,
of course you did. And then the tide turns, and things come together, and the balls that you weren't getting to 2 weeks ago, now everybody's making that play, and your pitchers are throwing more strikes, and well, that math adds up to wins, and then you start riding that. But I think if you know what you're doing, and you did, and a lot of guys do, your players come to the ballpark. They do what they have to do every day, and baseball's a tough game, man. It's really tough. The ball can bounce one way today, a different way tomorrow, and that's the difference between winning and losing. So I think streaks are something that when you get them, you ride them and you appreciate them and you hope they go on forever, but you understand that they won't. No. What you don't want to do is be manic in the game. You don't want to be up, down, up, down, up, down, because that won't serve any good purpose. And whether it was, our championship run last year or the struggles that we had this year, we knew that what we were doing, how we were doing it was right. It's just, we weren't getting the results that we wanted to get. That's the difference. Sometimes you really can't explain it.
Yeah, and it's all about consistency. Like you said, the up, down, up,
right.
down. You want to stay, somewhere in between.
Even keel.
Yeah, so I totally agree with that.
It's not like football where it's an event game. One day a week, you got to get up for that one day, and you lay it all on the line on Sunday. Mm-hmm. In baseball, you lay it all on the line on Sunday. You got to play Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Yeah, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Right.
Well, if you're playing professionally, you do.
Yes.
College
and
level.
Then when you're 12 games out and it's July, you're just hoping for the season to end.
Yes. Is this over yet? Well, the Orioles were hoping in April.
Oh my God.
Into April, they were hoping. So is this going to end anytime soon? So did you see that drill that I posted? From Bobby Dickerson, the infield coach with the Orioles. He was actually there when I was there. So I worked with Bobby Dickerson a long time ago.
I actually have I sent you a bunch of videos. There's a video where I'm doing almost the same thing.
Okay.
I'm not mic'd, but I love that whole routine. I think, first of all, Dickerson's approach is great. I love the way he talks to his player. It looks like a lot of fun. It looks like a drill you want to do, which makes you want to do it. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't agree more about his technical approach, about having your head behind the glove like a catcher,
sure.
Right? Get your head in there. And I love the way he uses the fungo. I try to use the fungo in the same way. It's a great way to free yourself up. You could hit the fungo from any place. Guys fielding a different, variety of balls. I think it's a great way to teach. Every coach should watch that video. It's a really good one.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I think it should be that head behind the ball should be
Absolutely.
Taught at a younger age. You don't see much of that taught, even at the high school level, getting your head behind the ball like that. I'm constantly reminding my players, at the 12, 13-year-old level, that, I'm trying to get them to center it up here in their,
right.
on their chest. Move your feet, try to catch it right here. So it's the same concept, except I'm not saying your head needs to be behind it, but if you're getting this behind it, your head's going to be there anyway because it moves with you.
Well, you don't want your head necessarily behind the ball if you're going to throw it, obviously.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to flip you the ball from second base to shortstop, you don't want to necessarily catch it up here. You want to catch it right here because you want to catch it from where you're going to throw it.
Yeah.
But if it's the final catch, which it is at first base, and you want to make sure you're catching it, you got to be like a catcher. They'll catch the ball behind, their head will be behind their glove as they catch the ball. And that's the way you want to do it at first base. It's a great video. I agree. Not enough of that fundamental stuff is taught at an early age.
Yeah, I'm actually, next time we go out, I'm actually going to send that to my first baseman. And then the next time we go out to work on things, we're going to do that drill.
That's a good idea.
I don't know if I'm going to do fungos at first with the younger kids. I'm just going to throw
You just throw it. Yeah, you could throw it. Same
and
thing.
then, then I'll work up. And then, when I work with older kids, high school level, and then beyond, then I'll institute the fungo. So, who's the best fungo hitter you ever saw? And don't say yourself.
No, I'm not. Frank Del George is a great fungo hitter. My father was ridiculous fungo hitter. Oh my God. He could put it anywhere, any way. We got a couple of guys in the Cape that are really good fungo hitters. Harwich has a guy that's really good. I forget his name. I think he's their first base coach. He's really, really good. They have, in my opinion, the best base coaches in the Cape Cod League. Those guys are really professionals. And I watch them a lot, and I learn a lot from them. They're really, really good. So the best fungo hitter ever, I'll tell you who was a really good fungo hitter was Bobby Valentine. Mm-hmm. I saw him hit fungos a lot.
While he was wearing his disguise or not?
No, he wasn't wearing his disguise at the time.
Oh,
he didn't have the funny nose and the glasses. No, and the mustache.
Yes.
Fewer and fewer guys hit pop-ups now, so there's less infield outfield. Major leagues, as you know, in minor leagues, guys aren't taking a lot of infield outfield. They pay not to take it.
I would get so mad when we didn't take infield or outfield before a game. Well, I really would.
But you know what's happened too? Early work has gotten so much earlier that so much more time is put in before the game. Mm-hmm. It's like, why are we going to go out and get 6 ground balls and put on a show in infield? So they're less inclined to do that. So you see less of that. And now those machines have taken over in spring training that hit fly balls and pop-ups. So, but those guys, my dad was unbelievable fungo hitter, unbelievable. And Del George was really, really good, really good.
Yeah, I've had a couple guys that I saw using the fungo that were pretty good. Wayne Terwilliger. I don't know.
Oh my God!
Yes,
I knew, of course.
Wayne from the Twins, Minnesota Twins.
Exactly. Yep.
Oh my goodness, he was like almost 90 when I saw him. I mean, I can't believe he's still living, but he was.
You want to go back? Who I saw who was unbelievable? Ozzie Virgil. Mm-hmm. Ozzie Virgil was with the Expos at the time. He could do anything with a fungo. It was like, are you kidding me? He was tremendous.
Yeah,
tremendous.
You want a line drive right off your shoe tops? Here you go. Boom. I'm like, what? Oh, so him, Terwilliger was really good. Pete McCannon was really good.
Yeah, I could see that. He's in great shape.
And Steve Roadcap, who was the manager my first year playing, he was really good as well with fungo. But, yes, Minio just jumped on. Hayne would just hit rockets at the infielders.
Yeah, Hayne was one of the most ineffective fungo hitters. Don't forget, I played for Hayne.
Yes.
The first day I played for Hayne was on like a freezing cold day at some bad field in Brooklyn. He was hitting balls at me. I was like, if this is the way this is going to be, I don't think I could play for this team. Yeah. I mean, I would get more forearm stitch shots, and balls ricochet off my hip. And he had that metal fungo, and he was gigantic, and he showed no mercy. No mercy.
He tried to hit the ball as hard as he could every time.
Right.
No.
But it was the same way he threw BP. He was throwing sliders, sidearm.
Trying to get you out.
Right, dude. You're not supposed to get me out. You're supposed to help me hit.
Yeah. So, Renee, I just want to let you know, I'm going to send it out to the whole team. I'm going to let them all learn that drill, the Bobby Dickerson drill. I'm just, I'm going to work with my first baseman on it specifically because I do break it down, and I'll work with the first baseman one night. The next night I'll work with the middle infielders. So,
what else, Ken?
Yeah.
Renee, I think more than anything, I had Kelly Nicholson, the manager of Orleans, on my podcast last week, and he was great. And he said something to me that was really cool. And he said, we don't do anything that they don't do in the major leagues. Like if you don't see it on a major league field, we don't do it. And That video, more than anything else, it gives you a feel for how professional people do things.
Mm-hmm.
And if more guys at the youth level had that mentality, why wouldn't you emulate the way it's done at the highest level? Don't do it the way you see high school guys or college guys doing it. This is how a major league team does it. Modify it for your players and create a professional atmosphere. I don't know why more guys don't want to do that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I go watch baseball practice here, and everybody's just standing around. Nobody's doing anything.
Absolutely,
and
nobody does anything. One guy's hitting,
ridiculous.
and 14 guys are freezing in the outfield.
Yeah, and the kid touches the ball 10 times in a practice. It just blows my mind. I'm like, look, it's repetitions, good repetitions, but you want to be able to get as many reps as you can in the hour and a half, 2 hours you have. So
There's no reason that every kid doesn't get tons of reps.
Oh,
You've got all
absolutely.
these dads who want to be involved. You got plenty of balls and you got plenty of kids. Kids should be getting boatloads of repetition. Nobody should be standing around. You shouldn't be playing inter-squad games. It's a waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
You should be doing all drill work concentrated on improving skills. That's it.
My other coaches, that's what they want to do. Can we inter-squad today? Can we inter-squad today? I'm like, no, let's drill.
Gigantic waste of
Let's
time.
drill. Let's drill. That's what I want to do. I want to do drills. I do want the kids to see live pitching, but at the same time, I would rather at this level get as many reps and as many touches as you possibly can, whether it's making contact with the ball, hitting, or catching the ball and throwing it.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
Youth coaches today, from what this is Renee, care more of their child than the rest of the team, and most are clueless. That's true.
Welcome to the 21st century.
Yeah, and also
I couldn't
Renee,
agree more.
He said in youth baseball, you never know who will show up to a specific game, and I think he's referring to, you don't know who's going to show up, and you've got to put players in different positions all the time. I totally agree with that. So teaching everyone all the drills, yes. That's a good point.
I made a comment once at a youth game, at a 13U game. I had this wonderful woman has 2 kids in Tribeca, and I work with them. She's friends with Johnny Franco, and they got my number, and she's really terrific. I went to the game, and aside from one of the lunatic parents telling me that he was tracking the velocities of the pitchers,
The velo.
he said, Tommy, he came over to me and very kind of furtively looked and said, I've got the velos. I wanted to just smash him. But I said to her, I said, I guess, and I said this facetiously, I said, it's all about the kids. And she goes, yeah, my kid.
Yeah.
And I knew exactly what she was saying. And I said, wow, you really are hip to this. She goes, yep. She goes, don't think for one second that I'm fooled by any of this. Yeah. And I think Renee is right. I think travel ball has really given people license to sort of cherry pick when they want to go, what team they want to be on, team shopping. There's 1,000 excuses why you take your kid off one team and put them on another team, regardless of how it impacts the team you take them off. And I don't think it's good for the kid, and I don't think it's good for the game.
I find it very uncomfortable because I have to recruit now. I've got to convince players to play on my team. I'm like, really? I don't understand.
Yeah. Okay.
It just makes no sense. I'm like, okay, I have to convince you to play. Okay, well then go play someplace else. But, that's my.
I think that a guy like you that does it right, I think over time you're going to have people waiting online to get on your team. I really do, because you're doing it so much differently than everybody else is. That's going to be very, very attractive. I'm telling you, it is.
I
so
do have an overflow of players now, and
there you go.
It's going to be a pain in the butt in the spring, but I'm going to have to tell some players they have to go find a team elsewhere because I just don't have enough room. So
I have a philosophy that if you have a field and you play a game, why aren't you practicing after the game? Why does everybody go home?
Yeah,
that's the most valuable time you have. If 6 or 7 kids stay after a game, do you realize, as you know, because we did it, we both did it, and I did it with you for 4 years, you could take 125 ground balls in about 17 minutes. I've done it. I clocked it. If you're one guy and one fungo, it's going to take you about. Kids don't get 100 ground balls in 17 weeks in travel ball.
Yeah.
In one day. I don't know why. When I see kids on a nice day play a game in which they get 4 at-bats, they make contact twice, why are you leaving when you still have the field?
Yeah.
The Japanese practice after a game.
Get out there. Get another, 100, 150 swings in. Yeah, I totally agree with that. That, everybody just disperses. Well, they've got the next event to go to. They've got, they got to get home to their video games or whatever it is. It's mind-boggling at best. In spring training, how we would do it, we would do our stuff in the morning, drills or whatever, our conditioning and all that. Then we would play a game after lunch, and then the coaches would specifically tell you, you're staying after. We're working after. And you would go do your work after the fact. So, you have the access to the field, but you just don't see people out using the fields at all.
What does Renee have here? Player attendance is an issue in youth baseball up to college. I agree. I think I am not particularly optimistic about the long-term health of summer baseball. I think kids are encouraged to play less and less. I hear the word shut it down day and night. I don't know how any kid who plays in the Northeast could actually think that he could take days off and months off. I know kids who play and think they're serious players who haven't played in like 4 weeks.
Yeah.
You only have 7 months to play up here. So if you take a month of those 7 off, you're now playing 6 months. The kid in Atlanta is playing 12 months. Yeah. Do that math. Over 5 years, that kid has a 30-month advantage over you.
He's getting 500, 600 more at bats than you a year. And that's a lot. That's a lot.
It is a lot.
And I wish I would have had that opportunity. I wish I would have grown up in a hot, warm weather climate like Florida or California or Texas, where I could have been playing baseball 12 months out of the year.
Doesn't the average guy put 2 and 2 together? Does he think the reason why kids come from warm weather, more players come from warm weather than anywhere else, is something other than the fact that they get to play more? They're not drinking different water or eating different food. Warm weather places allow you. It's just like golf or any other sport where you need good conditions. You're going to get more kids from the places where they can play more. So you can't afford to not play if you're a serious player. But we have a lot of kids, and Renee knows this, who say they're serious players, or their dads say they're serious players. But when it comes down to it, they're really not.
And you can't even get them to a practice on a Friday night.
Right.
Yeah. I have the field on Friday nights. I can tell you right now, the kids on my team who will not show up. I already know. After, 2 weeks in, I'm like, yep, not showing up. It's Friday night. So, whatever.
That's why the player pool is shrinking.
Yeah. Well, that's why their playing time is shrinking too. They'll be
That's right.
sitting down at the bottom of the batting order going, why am I not hitting 1, 2, or 3? Well, those guys were at practice on Friday night. Working on their game. So
I thought of another thing every hitter should do.
Okay, we've got a couple minutes left, and then we're going to have to wrap it up. So go ahead.
Choke up.
Oh, really?
Every hitter should choke up. Everyone.
Not in the big league level, they don't. Very
Joey
rarely.
Votto does.
Yes,
Joey Votto does.
But most hitters do
Barry
not.
Bonds did.
Oh, yeah, he did. Sure he did. But here, do you ever see those guys choked up from the start? From the get-go, right?
Yep.
Do you ever see players nowadays, they start at the bottom of the bat and they get 2 strikes and then they choke up? You ever see that? Never.
No.
I never see that.
Ever. No.
They stay right on the bottom of the bat and they swing the same way they swung the first 2 times and just trying to still hit the ball 500 feet. And that's why strikeouts are up. That's why batting averages are down. That's why the game has changed. Now, like you said, the game, it's changed, but, has it changed for the better? I don't know.
That's the question.
Yeah, I don't know.
In some ways, it hasn't.
I watched the Red Sox skin the Astros the other day. It was the game of the week or whatever, so it was national. And the Red Sox took the lead 2-0. And you know how they did it? They had shifts on the Red Sox. Both hitters came up. First guy came up. They had the shift on to the left, hit a ball to the right center field gap, line drive, would have been right at the second baseman if the second baseman was in position, but he wasn't. So it was a base hit to right center field. Next guy comes up, left-handed hitter. They shift all the way around. What does he do? He hits a line drive down right where the shortstop would have been. Boom, base hit. Now you got first and third. Now, and then the next guy comes up, hits a double, 2-run score. And then you're just sitting there going, why don't more teams do that? I don't get it. And
well,
they wound up winning 2-0 or whatever it was, 2-1.
Since we both know one thing in Major League Baseball and minor league baseball is it is very group thinkish, right? Nobody wants to be different. Everybody's afraid to lose their job. So once one team does something, usually teams follow. So if the Astros and the Red Sox continue this style of baseball and have tremendous success, you'll see other teams follow, and the shift will start to get mitigated by the fact that if you're going to play me that way, I'm going to hit it the other way, and I'm going to keep you honest by making you play a more conventional defense, and the game will change in that way. It will. Nothing's forever, and neither is the shift, because teams are going to have to adapt. They just are.
Yeah.
And the Red Sox and the Astros are doing that.
Yeah. Just one more thing, and then we'll go. You ready? I had one of my coaches tell me that we need one of those in-game apps with the iPad so we could track where the hitters hit the ball.
Yeah, you know what you need? Here's what you need to do. You need to get that in-game app. You need to put it on your iPad, and you need to smash that guy over the head with your iPad. That's what you need.
I was cracking up.
Oh, my God.
At this level, I can see by how the kid's swinging where the ball's going to go 9 times out of 10. I kind of get it, the way he swings. I know he's a left-handed hitter. He's swinging inside out. Ball's going in left field or that side of the field most times.
How exact do you really think you're going to be? If you play one step to the left, if your outfield is one step to the left too much or one step to the right, really, do you really think that you could minimize your room for error that you know exactly where the guy's going to play, like you're some F-15 fighter, a pilot, looking to bomb some target, so you have to zero in on it. The game just isn't. It's not predictable enough. It's just not. I understand. You want to play this guy to pull. You want to play this guy, but this whole micromanaging. Now you need an app to do that. I'm sorry. That's where I draw the line.
Yeah, I found it funny. I was like, yeah, nah, my iPad's broken, so I think I'm not gonna use it.
Oof. Wow.
But anyway, we've been on for 55 minutes, which is
oh my
good.
God.
Yeah,
and we have great guests. Renee's a great guest. Let me tell you something. Renee's a really good friend. He was great to me in the ACBL. Great source of support and friendship. Really, really good guy. And of course, Danny Ford, best. We have a lot of good people. I think we're going to start to get a lot of good guests.
Yep. And one more comment from Renee. He said, "Ouch, that was Dr. Cobb." K-A-L-B.
That's an inside joke.
I'm not on the inside, but I'll laugh with you.
Yeah, it's a good joke. I'll tell you that story. I got a lot of stories. We should tell some umpire stories next time.
Yeah, we should. I love the Lenny Hunter Tom.
Oh my God, Tom O'Connor. That's one of the great stories of all time. That's one of the funniest things I've ever seen on a baseball field.
So we'll save that for next time. But I just want to thank everybody for coming on. Thanks, guys at home. Thanks, Renee. Thanks, Danny Ford, Steve Minio for chiming in with comments. We love that. Tommy, thank you again. Man, I love you. This is fun.
I love you too, pal. You're the best.
I love when we talk baseball. This is great.
Yeah, it's great.
Our audience is growing every week. Don't forget, guys, to subscribe to us on YouTube. We do have a channel over there. We're trying to build it, so please subscribe to us over there. Click the bell for the notifications so it notifies you when we go live over there or post a video, which we're going to be doing more of. And again, have a great week. And baseball season, it's coming to the end. There's going to be some great games out there. The pennant race, of course. Yep, the pennant race. The Phillies are done. They're out of it. They can't even beat the Mets. So, it's sad. When you can't beat the Mets, it's over.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but I do think the Red Sox, the Astros, and the Indians, they got some good, they're going
to be fun to watch.
Games.
They'll be fun to watch. Yes,
absolutely.
They will.
Absolutely. All right, Tommy, I'm going to let you go, man. I'll see you next week.
I'll speak to you. Be good.
All right. See you, Avery. See ya.
Thanks, man.